Sit on down and pour yourself a glass.
And tune into your favorite podcast,
where things will be misquoted
and opinions ain't sugar-coated.
'Cause DJ and Kelly are locked and probably loaded.
Hey guys! Welcome to Locked and Probably Loaded with DJ and Kelly. I'm your host, DJ Qualls, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Kelly Blackheart.
What's up?
Hey, Kelly.
Hello.
So Kelly, we just did an episode, and we talked about why we're doing that, because I'm going out of town, and I feel fresh as a daisy.
Do you?
I feel regenerate. This really is the cure to my curmudgeonism, I think.
Podcasting?
Yeah, it really is. It feels so good, and I feel so vibrant and alive. And then right when I leave here, that feeling lasts for about 10 minutes. I forget what we talked about.
It's true. Well, at least you enjoy it while you're here. That's usually part of my pep talk when you don't want to do it. I'm like, you're fully allowed to hate everything leading up to doing the podcast, like getting ready, driving here, which today wasn't that bad. It was
a breeze.
So
there was no traffic at all today.
If every day was like today getting here, we'd probably also be less grumpy when we got here. But then once we start, that's when you enjoy it, and then driving home is a fucking bitch. But driving home is the biggest.
And
bitch.
we drive home in silence. we joke for
We're
about
so talked out.
We joke for about the first 10 minutes, and then it's just silence.
Well, because we're sitting in dead stop traffic on fucking Laurel Canyon, in the middle of the canyon.
Well, maybe make a comment like this: why did it make us come this way?
Also, literally every time we drive home from Laurel Canyon, we're like, why do people live here?
Yeah, we always say that.
Like it's a new thought every fucking time.
We drive up Laurel Canyon at a crawl, and I do this. That is a $4 million house. Could you imagine paying $4 million and not being able to go out of your house for like during the middle for like 5 hours in the morning and 5 hours in the
every
afternoon?
Single time we're like, oh my God, I just had a thought. Wouldn't it fucking suck to live here? DoorDash would be so hard to get. Uber would be so hard to get.
DoorDash sucks.
It'd be hard to fucking escape if there was a fire.
Don't think about that. Don't scare people.
Well, I don't live there.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I don't live there.
So, Kelly... So yesterday I went over to Kelly's house to pre-drink before we went to Billy's birthday party, and we watched the end of Below Deck.
Oh yeah.
The season finale of Below Deck.
I love Below Deck.
And we talked about this. Below Deck is a show that it doesn't just appeal to straight girls or gay guys. Straight guys like it.
Stan loves it.
It's universal, right? It's attractive people having dramas on a fucking yacht.
Yeah, I think a lot of men like Below Deck.
Ty loves it.
Yeah, so it's one of those shows in the Bravo verse that really appeals to men, and I think that's because the focus really isn't on the drama. The drama is the icing on the cake, but like the guys get to watch the boat, guys love boats and fucking the inner workings of the ship and the tasks that everybody has to do.
They also like the fucking drama too.
No, totally, but to be fair, I think most guys who talk shit about reality TV are the ones that when I was living with Grant and Mylene back in the day, Mylene and I would turn on The Bachelorette and Grant would be like, ugh. And then he'd be standing in the hallway around the corner with his glass of wine like, wait, what did she say? It's just one of those things where you immediately get roped in, even if it's not something that you would seek out yourself.
I think I was watching an early iteration of the original iteration of Housewives of New Jersey. And then he came into the room and he was asking me something. And I had the sound off, and then he was looking at it. He looked over because it was still going. And he was like, it looks like colorful birds arguing, like fighting. And I'm like, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
It's rich people. It's rich women wearing ridiculous shit, getting into arguments. That's what the show's about, and that's why New York is failing because no one is that crazy, and they're all afraid of backlash and what they look like to other people. In New York, we've talked about this. They're all nuts, and the fact that they were so nuts and not afraid to look nuts in front of other people was the genius of the show.
Yeah.
But getting back to Below Deck, we were driving here today, and your friend Stan sent a text saying that the
Chief Stew sucks.
Yeah, she's not very good.
Yeah,
and she's good at her job.
Yeah, she's not great TV.
She's not great TV.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about these shows that the casting directors have to be able to, like, you can't just be just hot. You have to be engaging it somehow. Like Zarina, who is the chef.
Yeah.
She's very attractive, but she doesn't act attractive. She doesn't think she's attractive.
She does not think she's attractive, yes. And she's like desperate for male validation.
Right. But she's funny and crude, and she's a great chef. So she's great at her job, but she's also interesting TV. But a lot of times you do this with Zarina. Come on. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah. I think for any of the reality shows that have a work component to them, I think there's a really tough. Those are probably the toughest things to cast, right? Because people that are really good at their jobs don't want to risk their career going on to a reality show. And so often, I think I've heard actually with Below Deck that they're for the most part now hiring like really green people, like, you know. And so, but as a viewer, it's funny because I really want them to walk the line of like somebody who's good at their job, but also is going to bring the drama. But a lot of times you can't have both. And so I get really frustrated when somebody comes on who is just drama, like Vihan, who was the bosun originally on this season, but he got fired.
I think they knew, though. I think they knew that he was probably the kind of guy that would get fired.
Yeah, possibly, but it's frustrating as a viewer. I'm like, I don't want you to just be drama. I want you to also be fucking capable to do your job, and so that frustrates me. But
and he was a douchebag.
Yeah, he was the fucking all the. I mean, the bosuns usually are.
Yeah, well, who's that bosun that screwed that? He cheated on his girlfriend and thought he was screwing one of the stews in the laundry room, and he had been on the show before. James or whatever his name is, he screwed
Eddie?
the blonde Eddie,
and
thought he was getting away with it, and then she confronts him at the going away drinks thing, and then they look back and you see all the times when he's walking into the laundry room looking. There are cameras everywhere, dumbass. You're not getting away with this, and then his girlfriend's going to obviously watch that,
right?
So then he has to get in front of it.
Yeah. It is funny because there's so many reality shows where I'm like, why are people doing these things when there's cameras around? But then so like Below Deck, it's not like they have camera crews necessarily following them around.
Right.
They've got cameras posted up everywhere. And so that is a lot easier to forget that there's cameras there. Of
course it is. I mean, like actors are notorious because we get mic'd in the morning. And, you know, like I've become paranoid. Like I'll turn it off when I go to the bathroom. I've masturbated a few times at work in my trailer because, you know, I'll be stressed out or feeling a little sexy. And don't want to
catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror. You're like, Pookie's looking absolutely fire today.
I've done that. And here's the thing. Most actors who I've told that to have told me they've also
of course. It's your trailer. It's basically your room.
Of course.
It's not like I mean, if it's in your trailer with the PA on set, that's not ideal. Yeah. But if you're alone, then
I'm not rubbing it all over the curtains. I mean, I understand.
Have you tried it though?
Yes. No, I haven't. The blinds work better. There's more friction. No, I haven't done any of that. But what was I talking about?
I don't remember.
Oh, Below Deck. Great show. Everybody watch it.
Yeah.
And
it's gotten to the point too where there's so many offshoots of the show that
there's always one on.
There's always one on. It started off with just one franchise, and then it like broke off into Below Deck Mediterranean and Below Deck Sailing Yacht, which being a crew on a sailboat seems like a fucking nightmare because the captain generally is not telling like the chief stew like, hey, we're going sailing now. So she's like in the bar area and all of the cabinets are flying open, glasses flying out of the cabinets.
Broken.
They're breaking everywhere.
People are sliding across the boat.
How have they not come up with a system that the cabinets lock?
They do. They do. I don't understand that. All those cabinets lock.
Oh, then they're just doing it for our sake, for the drama?
They must. Or
it's just sound effects.
They always look upset when it happens because they have to clean that shit up.
Yeah. It would be awful. Like, and also I think sailing's only fun when you're up on deck.
Yeah, and for the people who paid, I'm sure that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
For the people that pay a lot of money for that experience, they want, I think it's called keel. We're going to, Hey Siri, what's it called when a sailboat turns on its side?
A nap.
Heeling.
Heeling.
Yeah, when it heels. HEEL, not HEAL. Healing. But if you're on a sailboat, you probably
is healing.
You want to be going very fast and healing. You want to be sliding across the deck. you want your drink to be spilling out of the side of the glass. You want that experience because that is adrenaline.
Yeah.
But if you work on that boat, it's
That's why
ruining
everybody
your
on
life.
the Titanic had so much fun.
Yeah, they loved it.
Really good reviews.
Early Yelp
Oh God.
was a buzz.
3.5 stars. Loved the ride. However, I did lose my cranberry vodka.
Out of 3.5.
No, it was
Yeah.
no, it was like this. It was a great experience, except I did lose my grandparents.
And my virginity to Jack.
Oh,
I've been seeing a lot of on TikTok people doing like ratings of movies, and it's funny because the younger generations hate Titanic.
why?
They think it's the most boring fucking movie ever, and I'm like, that is crazy.
The
because
boat broke in half.
I know. I'm like, I saw it in the theater when I was like, I think I was probably 9 when I saw it. It was riveting. I've seen it a billion times since then. Like it re-released in theaters on the 20-year anniversary, and my friend Mark, who he lives in Denver now, but he was just in town last week and I got drinks with him, and he was telling the story to his girlfriend when it re-released. Like, we brought an 18-pack of Bud Light to the theater, and we said I peed like 12 times during the movie because it's so fucking long. But I couldn't believe that people were like, this movie's boring and the love story's stupid. It shouldn't have been a love story.
Do you
I'm
think
like,
it's because
what?
it was so long and the attention span has shrunk?
I don't know, but like, it was really long for its time, but now I feel like so many movies are almost 3
Hey
hours.
Siri, what's the running time for
think it's-
Titanic?
I think it's under 3 hours.
3 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean that's
It is a long
that's
movie,
a
but-
long movie, but you're on a ride.
yeah.
I mean, the thing that when I'm watching it, when somebody called my attention to how many times the characters call each other by their names, Rose, Jack, that's when
Well, they were just getting to know each other. They
Yeah.
had to say it to be like, oh, don't call her the wrong name.
yeah, exactly. 'Cause I'm fucking one of the scullery maids.
But like, one of the complaints was like, because Rose starts the movie, you know, where she's doing the interview, and she's obviously, since this has all happened, she's gotten married and she's had kids, but she's telling the story about Jack and how he was the love of her life and all of his stuff. And people are like, this is so not even realistic. She knew the guy for 2 days. I'm like, yeah, but they went through a fucking massive trauma together. Of
And
course she
also,
would
the
still be
average
thinking
life
about him.
expectancy in 1900 was 27. You could die of a fucking hangnail.
Yeah, so technically they dated for 3 years. But it's like her fiance was this abusive asshole
Yeah.
that like, so she
it's a tale as old as time.
yeah, it's the takes on it were so weird, but I also think media literacy is kind of dead, and so a lot of times the things that seem really straightforward from the past, people don't know how to
Right.
figure out the
if
story.
you put on a costume and talk in a British accent, if it's any historical thing, I'm yours. I love that stuff. I've watched Downton Abbey. Any costume drama, I love them.
Yeah.
Like Bridgerton, I love all of that
I love
stuff.
Bridgerton.
Yeah.
You sent me a text the other day. Let's see. Hold on. We text too much. This is probably going to
I
take
know.
a while.
I do that all the time. I'm like, also I'm a digital hoarder, so I'm looking for a photo. Like I'm like, hold on, let me find this photo real fast. And then 2 hours later, I'm like, here it is. I'm like, why did I want to show you this?
I texted you because I was coming to pick you up, and I was like 2 minutes, and then I said I'm here, and you go, Barney heard Sharon telling Zach that she slept with Grant after Phil tried to kill himself. He confronted Zach, and then a wound opened up in his stomach that he got when the pub blew up when Reese was running away after Bianca escaped from the storage unit. He was holding her. Now Barney is in the hospital, and I'll tell you the rest when I come out there.
So Barney's
And I'm like, get your fucking ass out
so
here.
Barney's in the hospital, and Barney's mother shows up. She's new, and I don't remember her name. And she's talking to the doctor that if he needs a blood transfusion, his blood type is AB. And then the doctor asks what her and her husband's blood types are, his father or ex-husband, and she told them, and it doesn't make that blood type. But Zach, who had an affair with her 16 years before, and Barney's 15, they just moved to the square like in the last year. He realizes that he is Barney's father, but it was before he got HIV from doing
butt stuff.
no, not butt stuff, from doing steroids. He got addicted to steroids.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know you could get HIV. Oh, he was sharing a needle.
yeah. I'm not gonna say that. I finally didn't tell a story. We mentioned everybody's names, including their social security number. No, but it's. I love this show so much. It's EastEnders. Albert Square is the most dangerous place on earth. Nobody is happy ever. I don't know why people remain living there. But I'm like 2 months behind right now, and I was just catching up. So I'd watched like 6 episodes, and there's never any room to breathe. And speaking of Patreon,
No ad break.
I was like,
We'll be right back after we fire Isaac.
hey guys, welcome back from those ads. We don't know what they are. But I love EastEnders, and it's not something I could recommend to anybody. It's such a niche thing, and I love it because it reminds me of a time when I first moved to England.
Well, I know Nikki, our Scottish listener, loves EastEnders.
And also Holly, the owner of
Deadpool
the Deadpool dog, loves it too. And so I get to...
I didn't realize this was from 1985.
Well,
33 seasons?
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's the longest running show, I think, in England.
Holy
fuck. Maybe Doctor Who's longer.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's and they do 4 episodes a week, every single week. So there's thousands. I know, thousands and thousands of episodes.
How much do they get paid?
Nothing.
Oh.
People on you're employee of the government. The BBC's a governmental run thing.
Oh, I didn't know it was BBC.
But any TV compared to what we make, like, you know, you go on a game show there for £1,000. Americans would be like, I don't get out of bed and piss in the morning if it's less than a chance to win $10,000 on a game show.
Yeah.
But like we actually have talked about this before. It's like when you go on the Bake Off, the British baking show, you win a cake plate. And that's very much a British thing, to do something for the honor of achieving it and winning it. Americans are not like that. We need to be monetarily rewarded. Otherwise, why the fuck would we do it?
Yeah. I mean,
just a different in the culture. Anyway, when I was coming over your house yesterday, while we were pre-drinking and watching Below Deck, I said you're out talking to your neighbor, and I asked if you had scales because I'm getting fat. I've gained a lot of weight. I've gotten boobs, like real boobs.
Congrats.
I don't love them. It's hard to run, and I don't do that very often. But when I do, I'm aware of them. I don't like being aware of my chest when I'm running, unless I'm having a heart attack, in case I want to be right on it. But I'm gaining weight, and I'm drinking the same as I've always had, which is, a moderate amount. I'm eating the same amount of food, but I'm gaining weight, which makes me think my testosterone is low. So I found this website. I got an ad for it. I didn't Google it. It read my fucking mind.
It saw your tits?
It saw my tits. Probably when I was watching porn.
Whoa!
I didn't cover my camera, and it was like, look at those. You're not supposed to have those. You have tits and an Adam's apple. This ad for this website, Hone, Hone, came up and said that they will send you a testosterone testing kit, and you lance your own fingers. And getting blood drawn out of my fingers is my dream. I have rolling veins, so I could go into my doctor and do this. But the thing is, my insurance, I have great insurance. UCLA Medical Group is my health group, but I have to pay for all non-prescribed blood tests, and your doctor can't prescribe a hormone test for some reason under their plan. It's a fucking racket.
Yeah.
So it's $45. I get to prick my own finger, which I probably would get you to do for me.
Yeah.
And then I just squeeze the drops out onto like this little sheet and then mail it into them. And then they can prescribe treatment. A doctor calls you, and it's $45. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is apparently I didn't know any of this. Libido suffers when your testosterone drops. This is for the 4 men out there that listen to this show. But we hear an awful lot about, replacement therapies for women because the menopause, it's a necessity, right? But there's a shameful thing involved with men having low testosterone. For some reason, there's a weird thing that makes you less manly. Actually, it does chemically, I think, make you less manly.
Like you don't want to fuck bitches anymore?
Yeah, maybe that's the problem.
I'm not gay. I just have low
testosterone since I was prepubescent. Since before I had any testosterone. But the symptoms are it makes you sleep longer, and I've been awfully tired lately. But I've been traveling a lot. It makes you gain weight around your torso. So I think if anybody has done this Hone thing, can you drop us an email or call us and let me know, or don't? Well, I guess you tag me on social media. I don't care. This is public knowledge. But I'm just interested.
It's $45, so it's worth a shot.
And your GP is kind of useless when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't see me and think, homie, have you thought about this? He has other men in my age group who are and older who are his patients.
Yeah.
But because insurance doesn't pay for it, they tend to not ask you if you want that
Well,
stuff.
and also the blood tests are so fucking expensive too.
Yeah.
Like
And they take 6 vials of fucking blood.
I know when I had to do, or when I had all my egg donation issues, when I gained the weight initially, I was trying to get a bunch of blood tests from my doctor and they wouldn't do it. It wasn't until I went to this like holistic fucking massage. It was a place called Human Garage, and they did like fascia massage and like all of this stuff. They did like full body kind of workups, and they did a blood test, and that's when I realized that none of my organs were working, or like 80% of my organs weren't working properly. And it wasn't until I did that, but like I never would have been able to get those tests through my doctor.
So we just have to realize when medicine is for profit, the patient's never going to win. We have to realize that, say it out loud to ourselves, say it to the people around us that we love, and realize that we have to take our own healthcare into our own hands. And so now I've talked myself into doing this. I'm definitely going to spend this $45 and see what happens. And if it comes back inconclusive, or if it's really, really low, then I would go in to talk to my doctor. Yeah. But I mean,
that's what you have to do, right? Like you basically, in order to get treated, you basically have to go in and be like, these are the facts. This is like, because otherwise they go, oh no, it's just this other thing.
They also hate being told what you have. They're like, let me, and a lot of times you're wrong because WebMD is evil. Yeah. But if you go in with carrying your left arm in your right hand, like, I think my arm is off. You're like, well, I'll be the judge of that. Yeah. Let me examine you.
Sounds like you're being kind of a pussy now.
Yeah. Like the first time I ever went to a doctor about depression, like I was in a bad state. This was in the mid to like 2007 or 8. I was really in my lowest point, and I went in, and like an old man doctor told me that I had low self-esteem. It's like, you're sad because you should work out more. You have low self-esteem because probably women are not attracted to your body type. That was his, without any, I admitted self-harm thoughts. And then I went into another doctor, and he was like, dude, you're in trouble. Because I was hurt, and then I started sobbing because I'd been heard. Yeah. And then I left with like 60 milligrams of Klonopin and 60 milligrams of like Ambien after admitting self-harm thoughts.
Yeah, so, take these, leave me alone, kid.
Exactly. So there's even flaws at every point in the system. The point is, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my health into my own hands, which sounds dirty when I said it.
Well, you could just follow the Liver King protocol. Remember I was telling you about the Liver King?
I forgot about the Liver King.
Yeah, I was telling DJ about this last night because again, another documentary that I watched. It's only an hour, and like I had peripherally heard about the Liver King because he's done all the fucking Red Pill Bro podcasts, and he does all these podcasts shirtless, and he's, you know, his body's fucking crazy. It's like muscles on top of muscles, super fucking tan, but also just, I thought he was 60 years old. I thought everybody was celebrating him because he was in his 60s and he was so fit. And come to find out, watching the documentary, I like looked it up. I'm like, how old is he? And it said he's either 45 or 46. And I was like, this bitch is not even 10 years older than me. Yeah. He looks so bad. His family, his kids definitely hate him because his lifestyle that he's forcing
feeds them liver.
Yeah, because he's like, here, there's a bull. We're shooting the bull. Let's go out and rip it apart and fucking eat its testicles raw and eat its liver raw. And
really?
Yes, they showed it in the fucking documentary.
Is that legal?
Yeah, I mean it's probably his bull.
I'm sure it wasn't like a next door neighbor's bull.
But like the kids, like their skin is terrible. The wife, her skin is like super pale. Her hair is greasy. I'm like, their lifestyle isn't healthy. But he was going on the podcast circuit being like, here is the path to health, right? And it's, I eat liver here, I use these supplements, blah blah blah, and people kept asking him like, are you using steroids? He's like, no, this is all natural. It's just from this lifestyle that I do. And then of course it comes out that of course he's using steroids because fucking look at him. I can't believe anybody ever believed that he wasn't on steroids. But not only was he on steroids, he was on $12,000 a month of steroids.
That's the other thing. If you're going to tell a lie, have some self-awareness. Yeah. Like, there was a contestant who shall remain nameless on Survivor last season. I just finished this season. That told everybody she was 45.
Sue.
It was Sue. I'm sorry,
Dirty Sue.
Yeah, and the thing is, she didn't wash her face one time the whole season. I think it was probably to conceal her age.
Possibly.
But she's 59 and told everybody she's 45. But when she told everybody, they had this look on their face.
Okay.
Okay. Make a believable lie. Also, Sue, you could have, instead of being 56, you could have been 49. Because who knows? Maybe you don't wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
I mean, but have some self-awareness.
Yeah.
Like, I tell people I'm 38 still, but I can't keep a straight face when I'm doing it anymore because I've seen myself.
Yeah, but you look 38 far more than Sue looked 45.
I know. I just said that in case I got any comments.
I'm just preparing for the trolls.
No, but I also use face acid that eats my fucking face off like every other night.
Have you talked about your retinol journey on
I
here?
talked about it here. Like, because the other day when I was here, I'd moved up to every other night from every third night, and every time it made me smile. It felt like I was being stung by 100 bees.
It's hard having such a funny friend when you're on retinol.
Yeah, exactly. Don't make me laugh. See, speaking of hard when you have a funny friend. Adult male circumcision. So here's why.
Flawless transition. Thank you. Next, what's up?
Here's why it's so that it never occurred to me, because everybody's like, it's so painful. I'm like, well, I know your dick's being cut, but here's the reason why it's so painful. You're stitched and having nocturnal erections.
When you're a baby?
No, when you're an adult.
Oh, adult male circumcision.
So yeah, adult male circumcision. So of course it's painful. You are stitched, flaccid.
Yeah.
They should get you hard. Wait, did I just?
Do they have circumcision fluffers or what?
Did I just solve a major medical problem for thousands of men?
Another job for you. Part-time troll, part-time circumcision.
Yeah,
fluffer.
I can't move into full-time trolling because I'm coming up with I'm solving some problems here.
You need to start consulting.
You did say when any of your work starts to feel like it's slowing down, you pivot.
Yeah, although I will say this, I saw an interview with an AI expert the other day, and he said the first job that will go
Is circumcision fluffers?
You saw it too. No, the first job that will go when AI really takes over is consulting. You won't need it.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
just type in what your business needs are and your problems that you're having, and AI will tell you what to fucking do.
Yeah. And then the entity will kill us all.
Yeah, that's a callback to Mission Impossible 8.
Have you heard at all about? I just started watching this docuseries that just came out on HBO. It's only 2 episodes so far, but Sherri Papini. Did you ever hear about that case?
Tell me.
So it was like in 2020. This woman wife, there was initially a documentary about it on Hulu called The Perfect Wife. Jesus, Rhino, could you be any fucking louder? And she went missing one day, and she was gone for like 3 weeks or something like that. And then they found her, and she had been like, her hands were zip tied. She had bruises all over her body.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
Brand marks or whatever. And so she had told the FBI that she had been abducted by 2 Hispanic women and all of this stuff. And then it comes out that was a lie. She was actually with her ex-boyfriend. They went down to Southern California, and then he like brought her back and dropped her off or whatever.
Well, why'd she say that? Was it because she wasn't at work?
No, it's like she disappeared on a run. Like she had been taken on a run.
No. But why? What was the reason for the lie? Was she
well, so we didn't find out about that in the first documentary. So now this second documentary is like her telling her side of the story. And so basically what I've gotten so far from this is like, she was having an emotional, the guy that ended up actually taking her was her ex-boyfriend from 15, 20 years before. And she had been texting him, like having kind of an emotional affair because her husband just like he was kind of neglectful.
Oh, she was married.
She was married.
Okay.
And she, like, her husband wouldn't really talk to her. Like if they were watching TV and she tried to talk to him, he would turn up the volume or like just tell her that she couldn't talk to him. Yeah. And anyway, so basically her story that I'm hearing so far is like, it was my ex-boyfriend that took me, but I didn't give him consent to abuse me. Like the boyfriend's story is, no, she told me to brand her and she told me to do all of these things. And she's saying, no, I was having an emotional affair. That's why I couldn't say that he's the one who took me, because he was also threatening me. Like, I'll be watching the news. Like, better not fucking say my name. And I'm like excited to watch the rest of the episodes, because at this point I'm like, I don't know what to believe. Like, of course it's hard to believe that somebody would be like, yeah, beat the shit out of me and brand me and all that stuff. But if you need a convincing story, then you might go through some pain to make it convincing. But
because she knew she was going back at some point, right? Into her normal life.
I think
she
so.
wasn't running away forever.
So they had she and her ex is named James. They both had burner phones, and so part of the thing was like the FBI believed that it was premeditated, but because they're burner phones, they have no way of checking what the messages were. So they have no proof to say that she said, "Come pick me up." So his story is she planned this thing. Her story is I was going to meet up with him, but then he held me captive and did all of these abusive things to me. But it's really unfortunate.
Was she charged?
I don't know if I've got. I don't remember if she got charged. We haven't gotten,
because there had to have been a manhunt for her, right?
I mean, they searched for her when she was missing, but then she came back after 3 weeks. And then it wasn't until a few years later that the FBI was like, "Hey, we think that you were lying about
we
this
need
thing."
to know
I don't remember if she I know she went to jail at some point, but I don't know if she was ever like convicted.
But usually they do that when there's resources spent.
Yeah. So she did get like a victim resource fund where she like went to therapy. She did a few years of EMDR, which is the therapy that I did.
No. I mean, usually the FBI comes knocking on your door
I see.
when they're like, "We spent $500,000 looking for you, and you just showed back up. So we need to talk about that."
Right. Yeah. So they definitely did investigate all that stuff.
So there must have been some sort of manhunt later, because if you're gone for 24 hours, they start looking at the husband immediately.
Oh yeah, he was doing the full media circuit.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times when a husband is guilty, they don't want to be interviewed on camera and all that stuff. And he was like immediately trying to get the FBI involved and all that stuff. And so I think that they kind of ruled him out.
Or when they do,
quickly.
the acting is fucking awful.
Yeah.
Right? So
please send her home.
So if you're gonna kill somebody, take 4 acting classes before you do it.
Okay, so she received. So the mail fraud was because she was taking the resources, like the victim fund resources, to do therapy and all of that stuff. Ordered to pay nearly $300,000 for the investigation costs.
She only received $30,000 in though.
Okay, yeah, I mean, but for the search, I guess. But it's one of those things where I'm like, girl. The fact that it's like you didn't have to say it was James. If the reason that you were protecting him is because he was threatening you and you were worried about your safety and all of that stuff, and also she's like, I didn't want my husband to know I was having this emotional affair, then just say it was some other fucking dude. But you make up 2 Hispanic women where it's like, that the public will jump on this story because people were thinking it was sex trafficking.
That
and
is
stuff
cowardice.
Like that. It's cowardice, and that's the shit that pisses me off.
I just saw this thing where these 2 teenagers rolled a log. They were in the woods, and this lady was shooting senior photos of people, and they rolled a log into a ravine and killed this woman. And their story was that a person of color came running up saying that somebody had been crushed by a log. And it's like that now that carries the same weight as when a husband goes on the news and does this. Well, a black man came and showed up and took my wife or whatever. Yeah. It's like, come on.
Yeah, it's such a fucking cowardly thing to do. It's ridiculous. And I don't know if she's telling the truth about the situation, but unfortunately, once you've lied in a way that hurts a community like that, it's really hard to believe you.
But also, you can't tell the truth. Even when you're like, I had an emotional affair with this guy. Yeah. I mean, even is she implying that there was no sex ever?
Yeah, because I think he was living in Southern California. So she had been.
But when she was with him.
Yeah, but she had sex with him when they were together, but that was years before she ever got married. I think she had multiple situations where she was texting other men, but she said none of the conversations were ever sexual. It's just I didn't have anybody to talk to. I was just this wife who stayed at home with the kids, and my husband hated me. And so I was just trying to get somebody to listen to me and have this emotional connection, which I can believe that.
It's an interesting thing, though, to be at home and feel ignored, and that must feel awful. Does she have children? Mm-hmm. To leave her children to go to California from another state with somebody that she doesn't know.
No, she lived. I mean, she was in Northern California.
All right. How long? How? And she was in Southern California.
She got taken to Southern California.
Oh, she got taken. That's the thing. Okay.
But that's the question. That's the question, right? Is like, whether or not she planned for that or
There's a lot of
he took
variables
her.
in this that are hard to
We'll
get your mind around.
solve the case when we get back from these ads.
Are we a true crime podcast now?
Yeah.
I wish.
No, I have issues with true crime podcasts.
And we're right back. What are your issues with true crime podcasts? That's hard to say.
I mean, just so many of them are so. It's hard because people take them so lightly.
Yeah.
Like, especially when there's, murder involved and all that stuff. The idea that people are talking about, like, nobody ever consults the families of these people. And it's like you're now getting into the details of this stuff and making merch about it and monetizing somebody's trauma and all that stuff.
Well, we've
it's
been
a little
conditioned
icky.
by Dateline.
Yeah.
Dateline is a murder a week.
Yeah.
And you're watching it for entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, you hear people all the time saying that they're addicted to true crime, like podcasts or TV shows. There's a loss of life and family devastation, community devastation in every single one of these stories, right? But I think because 14 people get mowed down in a school, like on a Tuesday, and this happens so frequently, and somebody rams their car, down Bourbon Street. All of this stuff makes you feel so helpless to be able to do anything about it that you just get a callous to it. You become numb to it.
Yeah, I think even the documentaries, I know a lot of the families have issues with the documentaries, which I take less of an issue with the documentaries because they at least handle the material sensitively most of the time. But I've listened to a few true crime podcasts where I'm like, they're cracking jokes,
Right?
And like that's the stuff that I'm like,
That would
if
be
you're
like
a family
us
member,
doing a true crime podcast.
Yeah.
And now
There's
we
no
definitely
way
should
we
not
would
be doing that.
we would not be.
First of all, everyone would hate us
Yes.
more than they already do. Maybe it's one of those things that started out like the first few that broke big. The people are like, wow, we've never been in this experience before, and these people are dead set on solving this, and then it becomes exploitative because you realize you can monetize it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And like, I don't judge anybody who watches the documentaries or listens to the podcast, because I also think that, especially for women, a lot of these things we're watching in ways to learn and keep ourselves safe and all of that stuff. Like, there's a reason that women are obsessed with true crime, and it's not that we're like fucking serial killers are hot. It's like we are studying. Like, we're studying our fucking predator and trying to figure out what type of patterns there are and what people did and in what situations people were in, so we can avoid those types of things in the future.
And you would think men would watch them to learn how to kill people.
I know.
But there's never that sort of thought, because that guy who killed his wife in Massachusetts, his search history was like,
I know.
how to dispose of a dead body. What things do I need to buy in order to get rid of a dead body? And then they find him at fucking Home Depot on a security camera, and his receipt is all of the stuff that was on the search.
Yep.
It's like, bruh.
Yep. And that's why I don't think we should allow men to be detectives, because like
I wouldn't go that far.
I made a TikTok that went super viral a couple years ago where it's like, why do we let men be detectives? Because every married woman I know will gripe about a guy being like, honey, where's the ketchup? And he's standing in front of the fridge, and she's like, it's right there in the door. Or like finding something that they use all the time. And it's like, have you tried using your adult eyes? Like, and men like to
Or
brag.
like holding your phone face down and looking at your watch. Say, Kelly, what time is it? My watch is set to the wrong time. And you say, why don't you just turn your hand over and look at your phone?
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing too. It's like, it's part of like men, I don't want to say brag about it, but they say it like with confidence. It's like, oh yeah, I don't pay any attention to detail.
I don't pay attention to detail.
And every fucking crime documentary I've ever seen has been botched to hell by these detectives, where it's like, oh my God, get a woman in there. All she has to do is have a name and where somebody went to middle school, and the crime is solved.
So I was in the car with a friend once who had a girlfriend at the time who loved to talk in this sort of like affected voice that would make you like not really dismiss her, or would make you dismiss her. Like, I'm just happy to be here. Everything's wonderful. And then he said something, and she went in a tone I've never heard before. Oh, on June 31st of last year, you said you were
June
here.
31st is not a date.
Or, you know what I mean? June 30th. June 30th.
That's my birthday.
Yeah. June 30th of last year. That was, you said you were here, and now you're saying you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how do men think they could ever lie?
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it.
Yeah. No, I actually don't know how people are compulsive liars because the more you lie, the more you have to remember. And my memory is fucking shot all the time. Even when I'm not lying, I can't remember shit. The fact that at any point I could be pulled into a police interrogation and they would go, where were you on May 12th? I'm like,
what is today?
What month is it right now? Like, I have no idea. Honestly, Brett Kavanaugh, really smart for keeping a calendar of everything. Boof with the boys on the 19th. You know, he kept a whole calendar of everything he did. Yeah, that was like part of the whole case was like, no, he couldn't have raped her because he was boofing with the boys.
What's a boofing with the boys
He's
mean?
fucking chugging beer up his butt.
I was going to say, I've never heard that phrase before, but I know what boofing is.
Yeah.
And we got the episode title.
Boofing with the boys.
Boofing with the boys.
And they're like, well, this couldn't possibly have been altered in any kind of way. Granted.
Yeah, I know. So I should be keeping a journal, but you know,
I don't keep a journal, but I keep a record of my flights. Every year I do the year and then I say flights and then the month I took them in, and that jars my memory to where I was during that time. Because if you don't have a 9-to-5 job, it's just today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
It really is.
They'd be like, what'd you do on May 12th? I'm like, I was likely watching a documentary on my couch while working on my computer.
I was either at the airport or I was laying down.
Or drinking somewhere.
Yeah. One of those three. I'm a terrible witness. I don't know what anybody looks like. The first thing I said when I walked in here today, I was like, has that TV stand always been there? And they're like, yeah, for like 11 months.
Yeah, but how were you expected to know?
I can't look at things.
Yeah, that's true. You can't. Looking at things is hard.
It's evil. I'm not a multitasker anyway.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't want to be.
Even when you're just like normally when you're looking at your phone, or at least now, I don't even attempt to try to talk to you because
I won't hear it.
Because you go, shh.
Or I just won't hear it.
Yeah. You go, shh, and I go, okay.
Sending an email. I was sending a text in the car on the way here about things I did not understand. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I love the abrupt ending. I like to catch off guard.
Are we going for 10 more minutes or are we going now? We're
look
going
in
to
your
do
windows.
we're going to do 10 more minutes on Patreon. You guys can follow us at Loaded Pod on social media. Send us an email, probablyloadedpod@gmail.com. Go onto our website and submit your email if you want a free invite to our next live happy hour.
They're a good time.
You can call us 323-272-3908, or you can find us on YouTube, Locked and Probably Loaded with DJ and Kelly. Oh, did you want to do that?
No, but I'm
Edit
glad
that
you
out.
did. No, that's good. I was gonna do it, but I don't like doing any of that.
Oh, okay.
You're so good at it.
Thank you.
And driving, you're a very good driver.
Thank you.
Maybe I'm not a bad driver. I just have low testosterone.
Well, if you were a woman, you'd be a good driver, clearly.
And we'll see you on Patreon.
Sit on down and pour yourself a glass.
And tune into your favorite podcast.
Where things will be misquoted.
And opinions ain't sugar-coated.
'Cause DJ and Kelly